Joe, what is the best way to remember somebody?
How?
Lend him money. Okay. Joe, what's the best way to circumcise a Trumpkin?
What?
Kick his sister in the mouth. See, because, and with the...
I like how you had to look at the device to figure out how to use the app on the sound maker machine.
We've only had this for a year
Right.
and a half. There's only so many buttons. Anyways, welcome to Carnival Personnel. I'm Jacques.
I'm Joe.
And we apologize.
And Dana Hersey is alive.
Allegedly. But the first thing when I Googled, and I was Googling him as I was driving, I'm like, Dana Hersey, and I put it in, and one of the first 2 or 3 things come up. Dead?
Right.
And I'm like, oh.
It's usually like, with any celebrity, it's like dead, gay,
No.
net worth.
We're not talking celebrities. We're talking Dana Hersey.
Dana Hersey is a legend.
He is here, you know. You got to be over 40. I don't think anybody... When did the movie Loft and TV 38 kind of cease to be as we know it?
Early 90s-ish. Yeah, I think.
All right.
But
so,
Dana, just to recap, the reason I say Dana Hersey is alive is because 2 podcasts ago, I said he was as dead as disco, and I was so wrong. And I was so stupid, in fact, that we recorded it on a Friday. I was corrected about it on a Sunday, and I edited it and posted it on Sunday night without deleting the comment that I thought that Dana Hersey had died. Dana Hersey, WSBK legend, movie loft guy, is alive. Maybe not well, but alive.
out of work.
Yeah, last I heard, he and his radio partner had been unceremoniously let go from their North Shore 104.9 gig. And I don't know if that's conservative radio. I don't know if that's just regular old-fashioned talk radio. So I don't know what his political leanings are. Like, we may hate Dana Hersey for, some odd reason.
Right, we are talking about the movie loss because I just remember him as a kid. And I remember I was talking about that, watching all the TMC movies, not TMC, TCM movies, thank you. Thinking, I wish there was somebody giving fun facts coming in and out of breaks. But growing up, it's like, shut the fuck up and show the movie, old man. And now I'm the old man who enjoys those little fun facts. But yeah, it's funny that you didn't, take it out, which has us talking about him. I'm going to look into. He probably has a podcast now and see if we can, track him down.
I did a deep dive search on Dana Hersey on Facebook, and I found the Facebook fans of Dana Hersey page.
How's his mom doing?
Seriously, 15 members.
Dude, I would go to each one of their houses, say, thank you very much. Please take this page down. It's like,
But I don't even think Dana Hersey works a computer. I'm sure he's not. He doesn't have a Twitter account. He's not Instagramming. So I don't think he cares. But let's have him on the podcast.
I would love to. Speaking of a podcast, I make no apologies for this upcoming Thursday sideshow, Joe. We'll get into it in sport. We'll come up a couple times before and after. But the New England Patriots are playing in Super Bowl 53, and everything that All-Star Tommy's wife Lisa doesn't want, he texts me during the game and says, Lisa's tired of the Patriots winning. She's not a big football fan, but, on one hand, she's not a Patriot fan. On the other hand, she's a cold Russian, probably, what's the word I'm thinking
Mail order
of?
bride?
No. Actually, I don't
know. You said Russian. This is word association.
No, hey, operative. I was thinking operative. I was thinking operative. Half the people here are thinking, Chuck, don't say bitch. Don't say bitch. I'm trying to think. Yeah, she played at Yale the same 4 years that All-Star Tommy did. Anyways, we can do a whole podcast on the, the All-Star Tommy's family history of ice hockey, which I think all the F&H guys, which is 90% of our listener, would enjoy it very much. Anyway, so we have a sideshow coming up, but let's get right into the fun. Joe, what was the subject line of when I send the rundown today?
On the email?
On the email.
Outdated 10 seconds after I hit send.
And about,
You were the pessimist. You said 10 seconds. It actually was more like 30 minutes.
And that's when news broke. The Roger Stone thing had already come out first thing this morning.
Which is on the rundown. Don't worry, we're going to talk about it.
And then, but, you know, in typical Bloatus fashion, we're jumping ahead a little bit. It looks really bad to have Roger Stone and all the media circles. So let's end this shutdown to take let's do something good to take the focus off this bad thing. Let's take something that was 35 days. Today was day 35. My math isn't that good, but that's pretty close to 5 weeks.
That's 5 weeks.
You know, I mean, another 4 hours from now, it would have technically been into week number 6. So
Trump ended the shutdown temporarily. But he thinks he might shut it down again on February 15th. But if he doesn't get his way. But we'll get
into that. Let's get into the more important thing.
Yes.
Fat shaming week 3.
Hey-o.
So this is the...
How's the tits?
You know, the moobs. The moobs are doing...
I like to call them mitts.
It's actually incredibly funny. We're going to get into a deep dive of the personal life, and you will enjoy this. It's very funny that you brought that up. Yesterday... I'm at the Burlington Mall because that's my life. That's how I roll, yo. And the missus was in Victoria's Secret, and she's like, long story short, she's like, hey, if we get a Victoria's Secret, credit card thing, this is you buy 2 get 1 free and 20% off. So sign up for a card.
That's how they get you.
And my thing was, what? Contrary to popular belief, I don't feel that comfortable walking around a Victoria's Secret. And by my outward appearance, not many people are comfortable with me walking around a Victoria's. Like, I'm that guy. I look...
Right, you wear the Harvey Firestein. The Harvey Weinstein collection.
Yeah, pretty. So
I blew the line.
You lied, George. You're lying.
Why do I talk?
But me, Jacques, now have a Victoria's Secret card, and I technically bought 3 bras yesterday for my moves.
Why don't you just complete it? The creep circle and get a Chuck E. Cheese card.
Done. No, but it's funny. So, all day long I kept telling the wife, it's like, hey, how's my bra fit? So little inside creepiness. But anyways, I skated. This is the 3rd Thursday in a row. There's a rink in Nashua that has stick time from 11:50 to 2:20.
And apparently no weight limit. Hey-o!
Let me guess your weight. About 30 minutes. And I get there an hour early, and I've always relied on the kindness of strangers. They let me go out and skate before, an hour beforehand. And the first week, it was tragic. I wanted to cry how bad it was. The second week was a lot better. I improved to god awful embarrassing. This week, it was tragic. But I mean, we're baby stepping.
Wait, tragic to god awful to tragic? Isn't that kind of yo-yo?
I don't know.
You're on a yo-yo thing with this?
Been yo-yoing weight forever. But I also this week, as I told you last week, left one jiu-jitsu place. I found the most lol thing for the boys to enter.
A dumpster?
Thank you. I thought you were going to go police station.
A crack house, whatever. This is like a pyramid.
If you know more.
Crack house.
What is lol?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to answer the former question. Sorry. I'm going to just set lol.
I'll buy an L.
Spin the wheel. If you know much about the history of Lowell, the mills and huge boxing. Like it's a huge boxing town. It's an old school boxing town. Like the movie that came out a few years ago with Marky Mark and his third nipple.
The fighter?
Right. I mean, that's a Lowell. Found a boxing gym for the boys and I to join. They also do jiu-jitsu. So I'm week 3 into getting ready for Phoenix. 3 skates. All that positivity put out there. What do we got going in front of us at the podcast right now, Joe?
I just burped out a bit of the Tostitos salsa con queso dip with Tostitos brand Scoops chips and a big old pile of Hershey's nuggets, non-chicken variety, and The Dove Hearts milk chocolate. Is it Valentine's Day already?
It's
man, it's creeping up on us.
It's always Valentine's Day in my heart, Joe. All right, so where I am Carnival Personnel's senior racist correspondent, hold for effect. I almost had a misunderstood BBQ Becky moment this week, again at the Burlington Mall. Soon after getting the Victoria's Secret card and buying 3 new bras, celebrated by going up to the food court. Not a lot of people there. Me and the missus are there. Maybe 4 tables away, guy with a little different complexion than mine, eating lunch by himself, minding his own business. But in between us, between the 4 tables, like 2 tables to our right, 2 tables to his left, there was one of those cone-ish things saying wet floor. It's more of a square cone-ish thing with the top. All of a sudden, we hear this guy hacking. He gets up, he walks over, and he throws up into the little hole at the top of this cone-ish thing.
That has no bottom.
Except
the floor.
Thank you. So we pick ourselves up, move a couple tables away, as does another gentleman with kind of the same complexion as this guy, moves 2 directions. And we were like pretty aghast, aghast because it was maybe 10 feet to this guy's on one direction, 10 feet to his right, where maybe 40 feet to his left was the bathrooms. So he decided, I'm coughing something up. I'm getting so sick, I can't make it to the bathroom. I'm going to go over there and heave into this.
Isn't that how the movie 12 Monkeys started? You don't know 12 Monkeys. It's one of those like those germaphobe movies where somebody coughs and then it spreads a disease that eventually takes out mankind.
Did I see that one? Yeah,
it was with Bruce Willis.
I think I did see that one.
Travel back in time to try to stop.
Yes,
yeah. Okay,
I did.
What a long way to go for a reference. Continue your story.
I'm trying to think. Wasn't his wife like patient number 0?
It was Gwyneth Paltrow, right?
On a business trip.
Yes, and she was on the flight
and ended up meeting up with an old friend at the. Okay, yes. I did see that. You're welcome, everybody.
Yeah, you don't need to see the movie now.
So, the guy goes back to his seat. Now we're maybe 6 tables away, and about 5 minutes later, the guy's still sitting there. He gets up and he walks over to the cone again, and I shout out over. It's like, dude, there's a bathroom right over there. And he politely tells me to shut the fuck up and mind my own business. I'm like, dude, you puking while I'm trying to eat lunch in a food court is my business. And he swears at me again. And I'm like, and I said, hey, whatever. And then he does decide to go to the bathroom after puking in this again, or he just leaves. And then, wife and I are talking about it. And the other person starts saying, you should mind your own business. And I'm like, are you talking to me? Not like, are you talking to me like Robert De Niro, Taxi Driver? It's like, wait a minute, I'm talking to my wife. Why are you interjecting? And I say the same thing. I said, yeah, a guy walking over towards us, puking, goes, well, you don't know his situation. He could be really sick. I said, the first time, I didn't say anything. The second time, I pointed it out. So it became my business. Goes, well, I just got up and moved too. And I'm like, well, good for you. And then he tells me again, well, that's why I should mind my own fucking business. And then management, who I can't believe haven't gotten me into more fights, tells him, it's like, you realize the irony of you interjecting on our conversation about minding our own business is you not minding your business. And to which he told her to, shut the F up. And then that's when I get this little twinge of, oh, don't be happy you're about to get into a fight at 50 in a food court. And there's that thing inside me that it's like...
The Rocky theme? Is that what is going on inside you?
No. More, I wish it was as honorable as Rocky, but it's more like...
Warriors come out and play?
Yeah. Exactly.
You hear the bottles of beer clinking against your fingertips?
And I remember, like, a friend of mine years ago in L.A., saying that there's been so many standoffs like this that I've been involved in where the other person might be bigger or might have more people, and Dan's pointed this out before, but I get this smirk, wait a minute, you shouldn't be happy you're about to fight 5 people, all twice your size, and it's like it scares the crap. And I don't even realize I'm doing it at the time, but I start getting up and moving the table, and then he's like, "I see people like you all the time online," and I'm like, social justice warrior, liberal snowflakes, tree hugger, vegetarian. That guy who just bought a burger for us. I mean, which version of me are we talking about? And then I realized, oh, in his world, like I'm some, BBQ Becky, and he made it that thing. It's like, no, it wasn't a race thing. It was a guy walking towards me, puking on a food court, me pointing out there's a bathroom in another direction thing. So,
but he didn't pull out his cell phone?
What
a moron.
Management did. She was, so right away. She's like, and I think before she started, poking, his bear. And it is true. It's like, it was, and we were laughing about it. He interjected on us saying, yeah, he's right. The other guy was right. Puker was right that we should mind our own business as we're having a conversation between us. It is what it is. Didn't happen. Didn't go down that way.
Hey, you should have taken a shit in the fucking cone and be like, oh hey, no, I have a condition.
Hey, if I knew it was going to be that kind of party, I would have put my dick in the mashed potatoes.
Yep. That's a reference that I don't get.
Oh, but I played that for you.
I know. I still don't get it.
It's on one of those old party albums that you see in Miss Maisel now.
Right.
And it was also...
it was a Beastie Boys track.
It might actually, speaking of Monkey, it might have been Brass Monkey that you... that I'll have to go back.
I don't remember hearing that on License to Ill.
Paul's Boutique. No, I think it's Paul's Boutique.
Okay.
Paul's Boutique. Okay. So, moving on. God, I am clever. Like a Rolling Stone. Let's get into how did your morning start, Joe? What was the first thing that you heard on the news? After the weather?
I heard breaking news. Roger Stone indicted. Arrested for it was like 7 counts on 3 charges. It was obstruction of justice, witness tampering, and lying to Congress or something like that.
Obstruction and the witness tampering. He publicly told somebody, keep your mouth shut or I'll kill your dog. Like he's going Godfather.
So Roger Stone, in case you don't know, was a huge Republican kind of influencer guy, right? I mean,
I'd say operative is the word.
Yeah, okay. Right. And he's an older gentleman. I mean, have you seen the outfits of Roger Stone in the past now bubbling up online, like him with the purple top hat, and he has those round, thick-rimmed glasses, and you can't help but not compare him to Burgess Meredith as the Penguin. Somebody tweeted like, what did they say? It was something about does he get to go to Arkham Asylum with all the other Batman villains?
He does look like he does. He has that, a superhero villain kind of look and vibe. I mean, he's been around. He was a Nixon advisor.
He has a Nixon tattoo on his back. No kidding. Have you seen it?
No, we haven't showered together.
Neither have I. I've just been online all day.
And he did come out of the courthouse today doing the Nixon. Now, when is the last time you saw or heard of Roger Stone? Personally, you.
Me? Oh, I heard him on the radio being interviewed on Sirius XM. There's a show called Jim Norton and Sam Roberts on Sirius XM. And they have him on quite frequently, actually. And
is Jim Norton...
He's a radio guy.
No, I know, but he's not. Is he a conservative?
He's kind of like funny. He's kind of down the middle. He's more of like a libertarian. He leans one way, but he's not so much. He's kind of like down the middle. But they just have him on because he's entertaining and whatever, and he's an interesting guy and whatever. But he said on the radio program the day before he was indicted and arrested. He said, they've been investigating me for 2.5 years and they haven't gotten anything on me yet. But he was there to promote his, I guess he puts out the best dressed, worst dressed list, which used to be done by a guy named Mr. Blackwell. And he'd passed on, but for like the past 10, 13 years or something like that, Roger Stone took it upon himself to publish his own best dressed, worst dressed list every, January or whatever. And he was on there kind of promoting that. And he said, even if somebody asked him, if you go to prison, just say hypothetically you go to prison, would we expect to see a best dressed, worst dressed list from you next year? And he goes, yes, I will be publishing it from prison, but it ain't happening. Hold my beer. Says
that did
Robert
not age
Mueller.
well. But Roger Stone for a year plus has been saying he expects to get indicted. Maybe 2 days ago, there was an MSNBC show that had 4 douchebags that are Roger Stone disciples or Roger Stone's affiliates, all of which have been interviewed, interrogated at some level, have been under the microscope and are in trouble with the Mueller investigation. And they've all kind of turned on Roger Stone because the through line between the 4 of them is like they got involved in this through Roger Stone. And Roger Stone had, not flipped on Trump yet, but had caused their lives to be upended, which is funny because, a very defiant, Roger Stone came out saying, he's going to plead, not guilty, that he's not going to lie to get himself out of all the things that Trump would want him to say. He has said everything that the Trumpkins would want him to say about witch hunt and I'm not going to lie to save myself. And it's like, I'm going to fight this. Very Michael Cohen saying he'd take a bullet for the president. Let's see how that works out.
Yeah, he said that before he got thrown into the slammer.
And now Michael Cohen, just this past week, he was supposed to testify in the 7th, and he came out and said, "Yeah, I'm not testifying because I'm getting threats from Trump." And but I think the Senate has subpoenaed him. They're making him come in, and they're going to let him testify behind closed doors, which it is what it is. But the good thing is, another witch in the Mueller investigation. And I guess they did one of those raids with a SWAT team, and his lawyer was like, they could have just asked us to turn ourselves in and we would have. It's like, right. And you wouldn't have burned all the evidence and wiped the computers.
Well, they arrested him in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And they also raided his Manhattan apartment.
Yeah, executed search warrants. So when they arrested him, they also executed search warrants just listen to his lawyer. And I just love it. It's like, these are the same fucks who are, championing, babies being ripped away from their, parents at the border saying, well, they came in and they scared his wife and they upset his dogs. It's like, or upset his wife and scared his dogs. It's like,
how do you tell the difference?
Right.
Hey-o!
So, and I shouldn't be this giddy about the fall of Western civilization, but he's been a douchebag flaunting, the whole no collusion thing forever. And his big tie is here's the thing. It's like the biggest thing with the Roger Stone is he's the conduit to WikiLeaks. Our Secretary of State, Pompeo, a lifetime, Department of Justice kind of FBI guy, has been very public. WikiLeaks is an extension of Soviet operative. He's on the record saying that they are. I'm trying to think the exact phrase. We should maybe look it up and put
Take
it
notes.
in. No. Actually play the clip of him saying that there are. A foreign adversary, like an intelligence, an extension of the intelligence wing, or a foreign adversary. Yeah. This is the Secretary of State, handpicked, by Bloatus saying that. Yeah. Anyway, so moving on, but it makes me pretty happy.
I know it's all right. It's another feather in Mueller's cap, but at the end of the day, Trump's still president, and I know.
Wait, Hillary's not. That didn't.
No, it didn't.
So we'll get into Trump more directly. But I was thinking, I had a thought on the way over. Because people, as we're recording this, a lot of our F&H friends and some other people listening to it during the week is behind. We should maybe play a little guessing game. I'm even thinking of making Carnival Personnel T-shirts and having our friends and anyone who accidentally listens, tweet in, who's the next to get indicted, and the closest one.
I think they make you at the shirt store buy more than 10 shirts.
You don't. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
If we just cut back just a little on the chips, we could have a wall of shirts. But who do you think? What do you think is the next? Because the more I've listened to this, they're not going after somebody like Roger Stone, who is that public, is that much of a 50-year operative who has this much resources. He has money, he has lawyers, he has powerful friends. Mueller isn't going after him unless it's ironclad, unless he has the goods. This is not a fishing exhibition. Is exhibition? Am I saying that right?
Something like that. Exercise.
But he is targeting people that he has the goods on. And the noose is tightening. This is the first year you had fringe guys, or I shouldn't say Michael Flynn is a fringe guy. I
Paul
put
Manafort.
He was a low hanging fruit. It was obvious Mike Flynn. Obama in the White House sitting next to, Blotus, doing that meeting in the White House before he moved in, told him, don't hire Mike Flynn. Within the first week, Sally Yates drives over and says, he's on investigation. Don't hire Mike Flynn. He's a great guy. That was the easy one. I'd have you do a self-indulgent thing with him, but no, it would ruin a damn song. But a lot of the people, the Russians who have been indicted, who are never going to be extradited here and stuff like that. He got those out of the way. He's been going after the bigger fish. With Manafort, with Cohen, with Roger Stone. He has it all.
You think he's ramping up to the big?
I think is it Donnie Jr. next? Is it
right? If you go after one of his kids,
but what the biggest thing that they got Roger Stone on is lying to Congress or lying to the Senate. He testified, and they have the confirmation that he lied in an open hearing to them, as did Don Jr. You go down the list. It's like these are the things that and what other interesting thing is Nancy Pelosi has pulled back a little bit, or has encouraged the Democrats to pull back a little bit. They came in wanting to start subpoenaing and getting the investigations going in earnest, as they should, but she's been like, let's see what Mueller's got. Let's not
let the man do his job.
Right. We'll get our chance. If he doesn't subpoena somebody we want to, or if there's other things like they're not going after Blotus for the emoluments.
Emolument, yeah.
They're not going after that. That's not on Mueller's wheelhouse. They'll go after, but again, let's see who they're bringing next. Let's not re-subpoena Don Jr. because there's already these sailed indictments between the shutdown and the FBI losing, resources, and with the constant threat of the Mueller investigation being impeded. We know that there's already all these sealed indictments that Mueller has already, if he gets fired, if they blow out the investigation, if they lose their funding, it doesn't stop where it is today. He already has these sealed indictments just waiting to go. So it is. So it's not completely dated. I will say Don Jr.'s next, and I know that's really going out there. You want to throw somebody out who you might think is next?
Let's see who's left. Really, I don't know.
Jared.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think you're better with the guessing game than I am. I'm more of I'm the guy that operates the dinger and the buzzer on the game show. You're better at throwing out all the suggestions.
Let's see, do we have a dinger?
I'm a game show watcher, not a game show. I don't know what I know.
So I didn't put on the rundown, and it's been talked to ad nauseum, but I do want to touch on what happened this past week with the entitled white pricks harassing the Native American. Now, first of all, let's forget that he's a Native American. Let's go right to he's a vet and
a criminal.
Well, of course, but the whole support our troops and our veterans and our veterans and our veterans. Again, I guess the underlying theme is they got to be white vets, otherwise it doesn't count. And I love how people are like, "Well, that clip was taken out of context." It's like, okay, I'll concede all that. Maybe there was a rush to judgment. Maybe these rich, entitled white kids who go to a nearly all-white school with an all-white staff were misunderstood. And then the videos come out of the kids in blackface at a basketball game at their school.
Not just blackface.
Black body, right.
Black body. It wasn't blackface. It was a blackout night. You see, because... Why?
And there was also a lot of other footage of, young girls being at this, this march, and the same, not other kids from the school, these same group of kids, harassing girls walking by. And in one of them, it's like, it's not rape if you enjoy it. It's like, ooh. Yeah, it's like,
No, these kids are pricks.
And when you...
And future Supreme Court justices.
Yeah, right, no. So, I like beer. Do you like beer? But that's it. It's like, and then the kid gets the, Madison Ave PR firm interview on Good Morning America, like image.
Yeah. He goes on the Today Show. Savannah Guthrie lobs him some questions, and, he's... Mr. Meek, he's like, well, I'm really the victim here. We were being yelled at by these, what later turned out to be the black Israelites yelling at them because it's a bunch of MAGA kids, yelling shit back at other people.
But, right.
And we'll never, ever know who started what, who said what. It's the iconic image of the Native American protester beating his drum in the face of a smug MAGA hat wearing fuck.
Trying to steer him down.
Yeah, just giving him the smirky stare down.
And that's what I love. It's like, dude, this guy has lived a real life. You've lived a privileged, entitled shell. You're not going to intimidate him, you dumb fuck.
Right. And we've been distracted for a whole week. With the government being shut down and all, there's not a whole lot to talk about. So why not focus on some punk-ass bitch kids who aren't going to change their ways? They're going to go back to their Kentucky school where I think, is it in Kentucky or Tennessee where they have the Creationism Museum?
Oh, that I think is Tennessee.
Yeah, okay. All right. But it's the same it's the same locale.
And again, this goes back to like when I was in California with the Prop 8 question in the Mormon church, spending all the money in another state fighting like marriage equality, or as I like to call it, marriage. If their Christian Catholic school is providing a bus to drive them to a political protest, then I don't think you get the tax break. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's the whole reason why the separation of church and state. You get these great tax exemptions, but you can't take the money that you're saving not paying taxes and funnel it into political,
activism. Yeah.
So anyways, that's a different thing.
Well, I also wanted to say that when I first saw the headline, racist Catholic school kids harass Native American, I'm like, wow, these kids are really racist. They must be from Boston.
See, because people think people in Boston are racist.
And they're right.
Yeah, they are. But we're no more racist. That's,
See, I just wanted to grind your gears a little bit.
That is, wow.
Yeah, you bit on the bait, baby.
I didn't get any worm. That was all luck.
Right.
All luck.
Right.
But, and then for those juice bags.
Juice bags.
What we were going to talk about, one of the things, is the shutdown and how it's affecting air traffic controllers. And kind of, it's not an official sick out, but a shortage of air traffic controllers wreaked havoc at LaGuardia today.
And Philadelphia and Newark.
So it's one of those things where...
But it's all moot now because the shutdown's over. Yay!
And then the great thing is, usually Trump does something worse to get the focus off what bad things are now. So he'll end the shutdown to take focus off the Roger Stone thing. And again, it's like I remember a few months ago coming in here being pissed at you because you didn't give me credit for putting out the fire. I mean, Joe had a fire at his couch downstairs in the basement. He never once took a minute to say thank you. I mean, I caused the fire, but still, when I took the time to put that fire out, nothing. All I heard is, oh, well, you started the fire in the first place.
Right.
I didn't start the fire.
Yeah. I found this human piece of shit on the floor, and I picked it up. Granted, I'm the one who put it there.
But where would it hurt you to say thank you?
Right, just because it fell out of my ass.
All right, where's the whistle?
It's right here, baby.
Let's blow through the Trump whistle. Okay, there we
blow through it.
Let me start.
Damn it!
This past Monday, MLK Day. How did you spend your MLK Day?
Inside because it was cold, baby.
It was fucking cold.
It was cold outside, baby.
Not as cold as Tuesday.
Right. Well, no, it wasn't Monday the big teen.
No, it's Tuesday, and I know that because my boys had a snow day, although it didn't snow. It snowed over the weekend. It was 1 degree, like 6 in the morning with a minus 14, and they can't have kids waiting at a bus stop or kids walk to school and stuff like that. No, but MLK Day, there was nothing planned. Blotus had nothing planned. And like even the media in the morning was saying, it's very unusual to have nothing on MLK Day. So they did let's run over to the MLK monument, in which he says, it's great to be here, yada, yada. Never mentions Martin Luther King. Who, on the other hand, Mike Pence, I forget what show he went on, went out of his way to point blank say, if Martin Luther King was here today, he'd be for the wall. And nobody, not the host, not the cameraman, not the lighting guy, not a producer, not a stagehand, not a PA walked over and punched him in the face and said, I disagree with that.
Probably because he's the vice president of the United States.
Oh, whose side are you on?
America's.
But that, I mean, literally to go out there. And that was another thing. I'll let you decide, Joe. Is it more unlikely that Mike Pence is right that Martin Luther King would be for building a wall, or the NRA spokesperson who came out and said that, that Martin Luther King would be a strong proponent of the Second Amendment and people's right to bear arms?
I forgot the question. I was just zoning out.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Can we end this podcast sooner than later?
We can. Did you follow Mr. Burns' statement this week? I'm sorry, Wilbur Ross.
I just learned who Wilbur Ross was.
Oh, okay.
He was a commerce secretary?
Yeah.
All right, great.
One of these billionaire guys who owns... Oh, he's Mr. Burns. He's also Wonderful Life, Mr. Potter. He owns a credit union and says, I don't understand why federal workers are going to food banks. They should just go and get loans at his credit union at 9% interest. So don't go to food banks.
Ross isn't selling. Ross is buying.
I mean, that's the tone of, and even Blotus is like, and Blotus, who, don't forget, like last year when he was fighting, wanting ID for voter fraud and fighting all that. You need an ID when you buy cereal at a grocery store. Obviously, you've never been to a grocery store.
None of these guys have.
And then this week during the shutdown, he was also saying, the optics of federal workers, people who are working 40, 50 hours a week and important jobs, going to food banks and going to literally bread lines and stuff. And he's like, I think, the people in these communities know who's being furloughed and who's not getting paid. And the supermarkets, they're going to help those people out. It's like,
well, because he hears that one story about wasn't there oh no I'm conflating something, because I did hear him say that, but I also heard that there was like a Wegmans or something where like the registers weren't working for an hour, so the manager just basically called an audible and said, okay, for this hour until we get the cash register up and running, the groceries are free. And it was like $5,000 in groceries that they just gave away.
Yeah, probably a small town somewhere
right.
But yeah, I don't think Ralph's or Market Basket are going to really
yeah,
oh, you're okay, yeah,
we'll put the weight of the country on our shoulders while you work this out.
And that's what they thought. So it's like, you need an ID to buy cereal, grocery stores are going to give you free. Maybe that's why all his businesses went bankrupt. Maybe he's just that clueless. So I did, but now I wanted to get to the highlight of the week as far as Blotus goes. He's the king of nicknames. He's the king of nasty. He's the king of nicknames. Lion Ted,
Crooked Hillary,
Low Energy Jeb,
Big Dick Donald. Big hands. You know what that means. Really big hands.
So this week, could you hit this week's nickname that he threw out?
Well, for whom?
Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House.
Nancy Pelosi. I like to call her Nancy. Hold for applause.
And honestly, that's it. He is so scared of her,
right?
That the best nickname that he can come up with
is Nancy. Is her name? But I think maybe what he was going for,
the double entendre.
No. I think not even that well thought out. I think it's just I'm not even going to call her Speaker Pelosi.
Right.
I'm just going to call that bitch by her first name. I'll call her Nancy, like I would call Ivanka Baby Doll. Or wait, no, that doesn't.
No, but I know that's a fair point.
I think he's just belittling her title and her position by just calling and her sex by just calling her Nancy.
Like we talked about before, like recently when Justin Trudeau was speaking when they were doing a NAFTA speak, and Justin Trudeau kept referring to him as Donald, which he hates. He hates. And so maybe he thinks everybody hates their first name. The disrespect, instead of calling him, Mr. President or something like that, if people just called him like we do, and so he lobbed out a few things this week, and somebody says, what do you think he meant by this? And she's like, I don't think he knows what he meant. Like, she's done fucking around. And any of the Democrats, it's a lot of the new wave of Democrats who came in running against her, like they were running in red districts or districts where Donald did very well, and they adhered to the Republican. The Republicans spent more money running against Nancy Pelosi than running against any candidate here or there. They just wanted you to run against her. We're so scared of her that, a bunch of Democrats came in pledging that they wouldn't vote for her to be speaker, which is like, dude, you're doing their bidding. I could not be happier with her being speaker. I mean, she takes no shit. That sit down meeting just before the shutdown, when he was trying to shut her up and saying, oh, she's quiet, she can't really talk here, and she flat out said, what are you talking about, Willis? or what are you talking about, Willis moment?
Yeah, I like the way she puffed out her cheeks at the end too.
But she has done nothing except be a boisterous thorn in his side, and I love her for it.
I would like her to turn up the volume just a bit, just a tad. I just not don't go all the way up to Hillary level, but
say up 2 streets and to the left.
Right.
That commercial was it Miracle Ear, the old one where the guy's getting directions? Shut up.
I don't watch Ion television as much as you do, so I don't know the Miracle Ear commercial reference that the kids are getting nowadays. What?
As I was saying, on this week's Blue Bloods. There we go.
Trump whistle over. Next.
Patton Oswalt.
Great guy. So I don't know if you heard this, but he was being himself on Twitter, which is usually hilarious, very, very often political, very often well thought out, very funny responses. He was getting, some conservative douchebag was trying to troll him, and Patton had a kind of a drop the mic, like really put the guy in his place, undisputed facts, go fuck yourself thing. And then, for whatever reason, Patton Oswalt was like, scrolling through the guy's timeline, seeing what other nonsense verbal diarrhea he suffers from. Turns out that the guy has had a few curveballs thrown his way and has had some serious medical issues over the last year, and even has an active GoFundMe thing for some serious, shit. Because he's an American and he's sick.
Right. And what do you think Patton Oswalt does?
I think he throws the hammer down and says, hey, man, if you really hate this asshole, you definitely don't want to go to his GoFundMe page and donate money to his cause so he can get better medical care.
He donates $2,000 himself, tells his 4 million followers, hey, don't agree with this guy, but he's an American. He's,
right.
It's like
Mary did it.
Help him
Mary
out.
did it. That she just went around and we heard George is in trouble. We're just gonna. That's my bad Uncle Billy.
I will never tire of any of that. But I
busted the jukebox.
Can you still do that impression these days? Is that okay?
I can.
You can,
I
right.
get mistaken for Italian. Close enough. Same shit.
Oh, no. What are you? You're Spanish, right?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
No, what wasn't that? You're Spanish.
Oh, no, Puerto Rican.
No, but one of your friends that.
Yeah. He says.
Yeah.
He goes, your friend, he's Puerto Rican. Actually, he's Portuguese. Yeah, same shit. And you know what? Can't disagree.
Yeah.
You know?
North Dakota. No, I'm from North Dakota. South Dakota piece of shit. What are you talking about? Anyways, the guy had a set goal of like $5,000, and Patton helped him get 13. So
good for him.
It's very much like Sarah Silverman last year had one of those moments where she was getting like a guy was being a guy.
He called her a C word.
Right. And and she, was
she had a dialogue with the guy. Like she actually didn't like go into his history, but maybe she did.
Yeah, but she was like, why are you so angry?
Right.
Like, look, we can disagree, but it doesn't mean you have. And it ended up, and then that guy had the same thing. That guy had some.
Right. He opened up, and then so she decided to reach out and ask for people to help him, and I guess he had like some back issues or something. I don't know.
Right. Thank you. That's what it is. And he ended up getting like wherever he lives. I think it was like Texasistan or something like that, and a bunch of Sarah Silverman like fans who are either chiropractors or doctors said, "Dude, come on in, I'll help you out. Like don't worry about insurance. Just come here and let me help." I mean, and again, it's like a lot of douchebag Democrats out there and a lot of douchebag liberals, but you don't see any level of empathy. Like during the whole shutdown thing, you would hear people say, "Well, people are proud of the shutdown and they're happy to go to work and they know they're suffering now, but it's worth it. We're going to make the country safer by not having the TSA, air traffic controllers, or the Coast Guard."
Yeah, or Secret Service. I mean,
right?
Yeah, like it's all like
we're going to make it so unsafe that people are going to die to have it be safer.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I mean,
it's almost like you don't cry, or I'll give you something to cry about.
Oh, I use that this week.
Use it every day, really.
Okay, so we got the awful out of the way. We got the good out of the way. Now we go to the best. And this week's Self-Indulgent Theater, I have asked a friend of the show, Gilbert Gottfried, to come on in and off his album Best Ever, Daniel Patrick Cray, or as we know him, dancray.net's song, Driving Us Home. Do you want me to tell you a little bit about the song first? Or about,
yes, please
No,
do.
no, you know what? Read the lyrics,
okay.
and then I'll tell you. I helped with this song. I didn't know, but
Hopefully it wasn't the spelling.
I will.
This is Gilbert Gottfried doing Best Ever?
No, it's off the album Best Ever.
Yeah.
Which you can get on dancray.net. But the song is Driving Us Home.
Driving Us Home, as read or sung by Gilbert Gottfried, but I don't know the melody, so as read. Was it something you heard at the grocery store or something someone said at work that got me thinking about grieving Butler's line in that scene from The Jerk? Which got me thinking about the Big Lebowski and poor Donnie's brief funeral and the way he died in Fargo. All that blood, all that snow, which got me thinking that the summer was nearly gone and wondering how the winter would be when I noticed how quiet the car had become. And I noticed you were looking at me. And I got a feeling that something ain't right here. Something went down. I can tell by your tone. And I don't know what, 'cause while you were talking, I was just driving us home. I'm not saying you should. I'm just thinking maybe just try taking the shorter route. Round to the point you're making. The aristocrats.
So, a few years ago, I told Dan this story. it was one of those really nice, I think it was a Sunday day. And I remember where I was on the highway from where we lived in Marina Del Rey, going down to like Anaheim. You go by, it's right near the, I think it's a Home Depot Center where the Galaxy, the MLS team, the Galaxy play, or the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles play. It's right off the side of the highway. It's really cool. It's where the Goodyear blimp like lands and takes off, and it's cool. I remember just driving, and I was having one of these Secret Life of Walter mini moments where I'm thinking about the jerk and the Big Lebowski and other things. And it's one of those nice moments where I'm just didn't have to be any place at a certain time. There was kind of rare for LA to be driving and not have a lot of traffic. And I'm just there by myself, like enjoying the Sunday. When I realize I'm not by myself, she's been talking for however long it's been. And then there's a pause, and I have to try to tap into the subconscious of like maybe something she said will trigger it. And it's at the point where I think I said, enough subconsciously, where she figured out that I'm not listening to a goddamn thing she's saying. And I have to start backtracking and, what were we talking about before? And then I realized I'm about 10 miles from the last time I had any recollection that she was saying anything. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe I go with dog rescue. That's always like a really safe bet. Wait, we're on our way to IKEA. Maybe she's talking about what we're going to get at IKEA. Wait, you know what? IKEA is kind of like Nordic, like Thor. Hey, I wonder if Thor went. No. Stop, Chuck. Focus. She's talking. What is she talking about? And I tell this story to Dan, which he then takes and puts in a goddamn and listen to the song when we played it at the end. It's like the way he says it's like, I'm not saying you should. I'm just thinking maybe you want to get. But it is. It's a fun song.
And totally unintelligible by Gilbert Gottfried to read, by the way.
It's Gilbert makes the good great and the great greater. Like I could listen to you read the phone book at Gilbert Gottfried.
I don't think anybody else could,
but that's
myself included.
So the Self-Indulgent Theater. I picked a song.
I'm going to call this the Jacques Indulgent.
I was just going to say that was like I love the song. Period. And the funny thing is, when we started playing this, several months ago, I'm like, "Hey, I kind of like this," and I remember telling Dan, "It reminds me of this. It reminds me of this story." And he's like, "Dude, that's where it came from, you dumbass." But no, I love that he took that. And your Gilbert is great. So it's it's completely all about me. We already know this. This is my self-indulgent thing. I love your persons. I love this. And I love this defunct sponsor of the week.
According to a recent survey, 64% of Americans get most of their information about what's going on in the world from television. So it's no wonder that viewers are expressing increasing interest in broadcast operations. Joe Domino, general manager of TV 38, answers viewers' questions about TV 38 and the television industry in general every Sunday night at 10 on Ask the Manager. If you have a question you'd like answered, write to Ask the Manager, 83 Birmingham Parkway, Brighton, Mass. And tune in Sunday night at 10.
All right. Now time for sport. Joe, anything going on sport-wise?
Well, it's an off week, so no, absolutely nothing. There are no sports. I think basketball stopped for a week. I think hockey stopped for a week. Yeah, they just,
did hockey stop? Did it? Because as we speak, right now in San Jose, California,
do you know how to get there, by the way?
Do you know the way? Shut it, because now it's going through my head and I don't like you.
You love me.
Yes. And if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right.
You were saying about San Jose.
I was saying about my niece, Julia, who is on the ice at the Shark Tank in San Jose right now, All-Star Weekend for the NHL Skills Competition, which actually, no, it's actually now. I think she's
Friday night.
And I will, after the podcast, be going home and hopefully see her because I almost said TiVo. What do you say?
DVR.
DVR. Yeah, thank you. I'm old. I put in the VHS and I set the recorder to 8 hours, so the quality will be fantastic.
Right. It looks like the Zapruder film by the time you're done with it.
Back and to the left. So that's going on in sport. But yeah, otherwise hockey has like the Bruins have they're in the midst of a 9-day, layoff hiatus, and but not for my niece Julia, who is kicking ass in San Jose at the All-Star game.
Is she also taking names?
I believe so.
Okay.
Well,
is she dropping names? Because that's what you do.
I went there. I went to her house and I gave her a whole bunch of bubble gum to bring with her because she was going there to chew gum and kick ass. I don't know if she ran out of gum before she got there.
But you're thinking ahead.
I'm thinking.
That's a good uncle.
So I know it's dated. I know it's been nearly 2 weeks. I know as people are listening to this, we're about to play in Super Bowl 53. But let's touch on it just for a second because we're going to do the whole podcast on Thursday. Last week, thoughts on the 2 conference title games, Joe?
Well, the Rams was robbed.
No, the Saints.
Saints was robbed. What the fuck is wrong with me? Well, I saw the game
as a child. You
seriously, but yeah, that awful non-call of pass interference, blatant pass interference. The memes on Twitter and the internet were hysterical because you see the Saints receiver, about to get the ball, but then instead of the Rams defender, you see Hulk Hogan.
I was going to say, I didn't want to jump in and steal that from you, but the Hulk Hogan went, yeah, brother.
But that was just atrocious. And that actually, thank God that happened, because if it weren't for that, all we would be talking about this week was roughing the passer gate.
Oh, even worse. We'll stay on the Saints, but even if you didn't call pass interference, it's a helmet-to-helmet hit.
Yeah.
And even the player who did it said, yeah, as soon as it happened, he got up thinking it's a penalty. Like he knew, and it's one of those penalties where you can't let the guy catch it. You know what I mean? If somebody's going on a breakaway, you have to pull them down, type thing.
So is the fix in?
I don't.
Conspiracy
theories? Because the NFL, it's like, does the ref not want to call a flag there and end a game on a penalty? But it wasn't great. And if the fix was in, the Rams are a darling this year. They have their coach who's honestly, their coach is closer to my youngest son's age than my age. He seriously is. He's 32 years old. They're the Rams. They want football to be a success in Southern California. However, the ratings came out. 2.1 million people were watching the Rams game in Southern California. 2.5 watching the Patriots.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a pretty substantial, jump. And, all those when people record themselves watching something and the reaction videos, there was a montage of Ram winning the game reaction videos from LA, and it'd be at like a sports bar with like 10 people kind of talking in the game, like the winning field goal going on over their shoulder, like absolute. Hey, that's cool.
Right.
Nothing. No, none of this insanity that happened.
No passion. Because nobody's from LA.
And even the people who are from LA. And I was there for 21 years. And I was there for 21 years where there was 0 teams. I got there right after the Raiders went up to Oakland, back to Oakland, and when the Rams went out to St. Louis.
St. Louis. No, Navin Johnson.
And so my time there, I can tell you, no one was clamoring for the Rams to come back. People were clamoring. It's an Oakland Raiders town. I mean, it is an Oakland Raiders town, period, at the end. Our friend All-Star Tommy, again, season ticket holder at UCLA. Our friend Crazy Legs, he's a USC guy. And I think the first 7 years I was there, like the crosstown rivalry, like UCLA won 7 years in a row, and then USC became the dominant force for the next decade. On a Saturday in Southern California, you might have 70,000, 80,000 people at a UCLA game at the Rose Bowl, noon on a Saturday. 7 o'clock at night across town, you might have 80,000 people at a USC game. You don't have, 60,000 people waking up Sunday wanting to go to another game. I mean, it's funny to say, you know, with the Lakers and the Dodgers and stuff like that it's a college football town, but it is. It's college basketball is huge here, but college football is it. I've never saw anybody clamoring for a team to get there. When I would I went to every Patriot game that they played down in San Diego, and the crowd was always. It seemed, because it's Boston Fucks, that it was like 60% Boston Fucks, but it was probably 40-60. But it was 80% Boston Fucks the first half of the quarter until the Charger fans got there. And then the last fourth quarter was, you know, almost all Patriot fans. But that's not just the Patriots. I went to a Bills game when Doug Flutie was the quarterback. You know, and it was the same thing. It's like it was all Bills fans, and it was all everybody else's fans. Nobody's been clamoring for these teams to come back. I'm longer winded than ever, but the NFL wants it to be successful. That said, if the fix was in, if it was Kansas City with their young quarterback and St. Louis with their young quarterback, I think the NFL would be happy, and maybe
LA with it.
You know, but what I think most people really wanted was Drew Brees and Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. And they were talking about Drew Brees retiring after the Super Bowl if he were to make it, right? I think that was up in the air.
They're saying that about Brady too.
No, Brady's not retiring.
The thing is, no, not even Drew Brees was. His coach isn't going anywhere.
I guess so.
I mean, they had the best Mahomes from Kansas City. He's the MVP. There's no close second.
Right. He's their Brady, by the way.
He's the kid is. The kid is fucking awesome.
And you know, technically, he probably should be better than Brady in his future years because he can run.
He does things that I mean, and again, it's like his delivery. Just in the
no look passes and the sidearms.
The sidearm thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many times and again, from his growing up as a baseball player, I mean, a shortstop going from his left to his right, making a stop and throwing to first base, it's usually on the run and it's sidearmed. I don't know how many times this season, at least 3 or 4 times in the Pats game, he did that, where there's defenders in his face and he's throwing it around.
So basically take Jarek Jeter and then make him a football quarterback.
That's exactly what it is. I might have gone with Noma.
You would have.
But then again.
You're from Boston.
But he, but that's the thing. It's like, yeah, that was the scandal with the Patriots would have been, and I hate to say it, Brady threw a horrific interception in the first quarter. Like, absolutely trying to get cute. The running game's working. You know, it's first and goal, second goal. He wants Gronk to have the big touchdown. Gets picked off.
In the end zone.
In the end zone. He had like 118 trips to the end zone in a row without, it is like, now? Really? Now this is when you're being a dick? He threw another interception that went off Jules' hands, and it's like, I always hate that. It's like, he threw 2 picks in the game. He threw 1 pick.
Right.
But the game ended when he threw his 3rd interception of the game, and again, off Gronk's hands. But somebody on Kansas City lined up offsides.
Yep.
Now, I haven't seen the replay more than 50 times, and it's hard to tell. Did Brady know he had a free play? Like, because lots of times you'll hear, you know, he'll see a flag thrown, and he knows. It's one of those things. Go ahead and heave it for the end zone. Yeah. Go ahead and make a play that you normally wouldn't make because they thank you. It's coming. It's not going to hurt you. If that guy's not lined up off sides.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if Brady knew he had a free play or they just got so fucking lucky.
Yeah.
Because that ends the game. Like they take a knee and it's all over. Instead, he drives down, scores a touchdown. It goes on to be what it is, and we'll talk about that a little more in the sideshow this week. But the stat line would have been 1 touchdown pass, 3 interceptions. He's over the cliff, all this stuff. Instead, it's probably the biggest road win. He's the whole knock in the last week. It's like, oh, he plays all his playoff games at home. He is 4-7 on the road, and he's lost 10 playoff games, and he's 4-7 on the road in playoff games. He's lost their last 3 AFC title games on the road, 2 in Denver and 1 in Indianapolis. And again, the one in Indianapolis should have been a win. The one in Denver Probably the second one should have been a win, but he can't win on the road anymore. He's too old. They were 5-3. If you saw how they reacted, it was. I've not seen Tom Brady be that excited, even in Super Bowl wins.
That was a hard fought, and luck. Yeah, there were lucky calls. That roughing the passer call was not roughing the passer. They got a fucking break.
Mahomes does not get that call. Like Manning would have got that call. Drew Brees might have got that call. Some like Aaron Rodgers might have because of their status and who they are. But yeah, that was a gift. That was that was. But that's again, you look at all the other calls that went the other way. I mean, there was holding calls against Gronk where he's but it works both ways. But yeah, I'm not saying.
And let's not forget the Edelman non-catch. That'll
the
kickoff return.
Like the punt.
Oh, the punt return,
dude. How and it showed it from like 5 different angles. It doesn't miss his hand. A quarter an inch, but it doesn't.
It does. The ball didn't change their trajectory. They showed it from multiple angles. It never once conclusively touched his hand or arm or forearm.
If this is and how it missed him, it's like there's a force field around it.
Right.
I'm not fucking around when I say this. If it's not HD cameras, there's no conclusive way of telling. You would not have been able to see from the different angles that.
And it was grainy when they had to zoom in with HD cameras. I mean, this is top-notch, state-of-the-art technology.
That would have ended the game too.
Yeah.
So Gronk knocks a ball up in the. Gronk's alone. And he knocks a ball up that got caught that would have ended the game if it wasn't a penalty. If that doesn't get overruled, Jules would have cost him the game. That said, Jules and Gronk it was the best game Gronk played all year. No close second. I mean, no close second.
And we're going into a Super Bowl with Edelman healthy, with Gronk healthy, with Brady healthy.
Haven't had that. Haven't had Gronk. Edelman missed the last Super Bowl.
By the way, that's me knocking on wood because there's a whole week to go.
Yeah, because last year, because I put that on Twitter, it's like when somebody's talking about, how healthy everybody. So like the first injury report of the week came out. It was last year at this time that Brady got the 12 stitches on his hand at practice by following through on a pass, and he caught his hand on Rec Burkhead's helmet. So I'm like, put him in bubble wrap.
Seriously.
Anyways. Look, we got a whole sideshow coming up. Right. We'll move on for this, but I do want to say congratulations to my niece Julia for kicking ass at the All-Star Weekend. Couldn't be prouder. There you go.
Are you going to cry?
A little bit. I did. I definitely did. When she got the Ovechkin stick, I definitely did. Okay, enough sport, except for when we do the Patriots Super Bowl 53 sideshow this Thursday. You're welcome, Biff. Hey, if the Patriots are so good, Joe, if they're so much better than, let's say, the Steelers, how come the Steelers had so many more players at the Pro Bowl?
You see, because they're not doing anything else to prepare.
But we can talk about the Jets. You saw the Jets linebacker
that took out Pat Patriot.
Dude,
what a cunt!
The guy's 50 years old in that mascot outfit.
Oh, God damn it!
But it's true. I mean, the guy's 50 inside that mascot outfit, and there was reports he went to the hospital. And he wasn't, but dude, he was.
Well, did you see the apology? Non-apology?
Well, dude, fuck. I mean, honestly, that guy. Best thing that happened to that guy. That's a 6-figure lawsuit.
Hey, that guy has a name, which I will look up later.
Pat. But seriously, the guy inside that mascot thing. That's a 6-figure lawsuit. Easy. He can sue the NFL. He can sue. It's one thing.
And end his Pat Patriot career? I don't think so.
I don't think it would end. You think the Patriots would look down at the guy for suing a Jet player?
The Jet player. Well, he would be suing the National Football.
No, he would sue. Look, you know what? We should reach out to single legal correspondent John C. Taylor. The C stands for Cornell. Or cash. Anyways, but no, there's
confessions or
cash. Let's post that.
Never.
Look, hey, it's not the Melanado skit.
We're doing an inside joke. Sorry about that.
But there is an assumption of risk if you're a mascot at a football game on the sideline. There's not and that's one of the things. If he was on the sideline and he's waving to the fans and he gets tackled from behind because a play came over, that's part of the job.
Yeah.
There's probably waivers. But when somebody goes out of their way to maliciously, somebody who is
the only representative from the New England Patriots there, by the way.
Right, exactly. Because, hey, how good can they be? Anyway, so, because, Andrew Luck's here, no Tom Brady, right? Am I right?
Hashtag we suck.
So he can sue the NFL because it is an NFL event. He can also sue the fuck out of the player, which I hope he does. And the league's got to step in and say,
sue everybody.
No,
because his shoes fell off.
I'll bring my shoe. Look, I'm not the most litigious. Let's sue Harry, but dude, that's maliciously going out of your way. You are 6'4" walking muscle. You know what I mean?
And by the time this airs, they'll have reconciled and put out a rap video or something at the end. Who knows?
But the douchebaggery of not being sorry, because let's face it, the crowd did go nuts because he hit a Patriot guy.
Yeah, of course, because all of America except 4 or 5 states hate the Patriots.
Yeah, because Connecticut's on the border.
Exactly. I'm not too sure about Connecticut. I'm looking at you.
We now move on to Flora's favorite part of the show, the random video game review.
Is she still listening?
She is,
oh,
attentively.
Bless your soul.
Dude, it's time to talk to Steve.
I understand.
So we are getting to the random video game, but first, what's going on video game with you this week?
What's nothing really. I started playing Mega Man 11 for the Switch, and it's hard, and I gave up. I'm getting. It comes in waves. Like sometimes I get into a game, if a game like really grabs my attention, like Spider-Man, like I'll be in it and I'll 100% it, and then.
Or 110% it.
Right. I haven't done the DLC for Spider-Man, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, but it's $25. I don't, what the fuck? It's after Christmas. I'm still, licking my wounds, which is actually pretty
Lucky
fun.
wounds.
Yes, right. But no, nothing big on the video game front for me, so to speak. But we'll see. The night is still young.
Anybody upstairs playing anything new?
No, it's all Smash all the time. Or League of Legends. Oh my God, League of Legends. God damn League of Legends. League of Legends has quite the following in our household. Half of our household plays League of Legends on a consistent basis. I do have to say this: Snoop Doggy Dogg needs to get a jobby job because the League of Legends is taking a lot of free time away from a certain someone in our household that shall remain.
Haven't gone down to the street to Papagino's and taken out application.
Well, he leaves them. He leaves them at the door, and they don't know what he's taking. So Jacques just went to my video game wall, and I saw briefly that he took an Atari game.
I did.
It's an Atari game, Atari 2600. For those of you in the know, God, I don't know what you pulled off because they're not even in order. Or they're just they're like in this little narrow shelf they're all piled up on like bodies on top of each other. I don't know why bodies would be piled on top of each other in my scenario, but go on. It's not ice hockey because I can see that it's not Missile Command. I'm going to guess Superman because it was the last game that there it is, Superman. Yeah, I tried to play this game for Jacques in my Atari 2600, but for some reason the mechanism wasn't working. There's like a spring that's not.
Must be Portuguese, am I right? Or Spanish, same thing.
This is an okay game. I don't think you've ever seen what it looks like, but you play Superman. It's kind of confusing because those old Atari games were all single screen. They didn't really move around a lot until you got to like Pitfall 2, which was a really good game, which I have. But this is an earlier game. It's obviously based on the movie. This came out in 1979, and you play as Clark Kent, aka Superman. You can change from Clark Kent into Superman by going into the phone booth.
That's so great.
You fly around, you catch criminals, you take them to jail, you rescue Lois Lane from certain things, either she's like in peril somewhere, and you have to fly up, down, left, or right to certain screens that sort of rotate. After every couple of screens, it just revolves back to the original screen that you were on. You go to the Daily Planet. I think you have to round up like 3 criminals, and then you get Lex Luthor in a helicopter or something. I don't know. It's kind of convoluted, and it would be near impossible for any kid of this generation to try to figure out without a walkthrough or a manual or a YouTube video or a guide, because this is like you think E.T. destroyed. You think E.T. the extraterrestrial video game was confusing for Atari. This is up there, but it doesn't have any music. It has weird. Well, I mean, none of these games really had music. It was like the Pong era.
Right.
But it's a Superman game. Superman does not have a stellar video game library, which is not surprising considering you're Superman.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of challenge involved when it comes to being Superman. So, I don't know.
I mean, if you're about to lose, you can just fly around the earth really fast the other way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's no fast movement in this game. That feature had been removed. So Superman for the Atari 2600 probably costs $2. That's my guess. Did you look at it?
That's your guess. Well, I don't find it any cheaper than this.
$8.99. Well,
yeah.
Maybe mine is worth $2 because I can't get it to work because it's all fucked up on the inside. And the only way you can open these
fucked up on the inside. Leave me out of this, Joe.
The only way you can open these cartridges up is by like cutting through the label, because the screw to unfasten them is below the label, and I'm not going to do that. I'd rather have a broken game with a fresh label than a fixed game with a broken label, and that's how fucked up I am.
Dude, I've said that. If I've said that once, I've said it
once.
I said it once.
Yeah.
You watching anything? What's your Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu?
What the hell am I watching? You know what? I mean to take notes during the week of what I watch. I don't know. Last night I kind of watched like Goldberg. I watched like the ABC comedies. Like I was just feeling really like I want somebody to program stuff for me. I'm tired of seeking out the programming myself. I want a network to tell me what to watch and in what order to watch it and when to watch it. And that's what I did. And I started watching Conan's new half an hour show on TBS. There's something I want to show you after we record here.
Hello.
Is The Joker's Wild with Snoop Dogg it's the new Joker's Wild with the game show with the slot machine. Snoop Dogg is the host, and Julian Edelman has a video package as part of like one of the categories. It's called Jim and Jews. And it's funny because they give Snoop Dogg these Yiddish and Jewish words that he literally is reading for the first time on the card. That's great. Yeah, so I got to show you the clip. And he does a thing with Julie. He has a pre-tape thing with Julian Edelman, and so I think it's great. But my video habits are very scattered this week. I'm sure yours are much more organized and much more non-Patriot centric.
I haven't watched anything except Patriots past. I mean, dude, it is.
You're just watching the final touchdown on a loop.
How great is that? I mean, seriously, taking ourselves out of the equation.
How great is it that they won the coin toss and scored a touchdown?
Well, here's the funny thing. And again, I know what Biff's going to say. I know what other people, Patriot fans thinks everybody's out. Every time the Patriots do something that other teams do, it becomes illegal. Like a few years ago, I forget who did it. Somebody jumped the offensive line, like jumped right over the center to block a field goal. It was a huge highlight. Like later in the season, somebody from the Patriots did it, and instantly they changed the rule. And we joked about that they were going to change the rule.
Tuck rule.
Right, the tuck. You go down the list, and now the Rams-Saints game, it was a coin flip. The Saints got the ball. Drew Brees, at home, doesn't score. They have to punt. The Patriots, because it's the third time. I mean, and this is one of the 9,000 reasons people hate the Patriots. The statistical anomaly of winning 3 coin tosses in a row in the playoffs since they made this rule. And, the rule is, for anybody who doesn't know, if you score a touchdown, it's sudden death or sudden life, the game's over. If you kick a field goal, the other team gets a chance, at the ball. And the 3 times in the playoffs, the Patriots have won the coin toss. Thank you, Matthew Slater. And
we want the ball.
big decision, and all 3 times they marched down the field, the other team. And, it's like people are like, well, Mahomes should have got a chance to get it. And look, I understand that argument, but these are the rules the way they are. They weren't talking about changing the playoff rules or the overtime rules during the regular season when it happened or right after the Saints game. But as soon as the Patriots won, it's unfair that they always win. And it is what it is. But the Patriots, the back and forth, it was.
I thought we were talking about what we were watching on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not watching anything. I've just watched, and like NFL Network has been showing the old Patriots, like Super Bowls. Oh, they're probably showing other teams Super Bowls too, but, fuck it. So I've been watching that, all the highlight shows, listening to it. No, nothing else. It's like, it's the first few days, it was euphoria, celebrating that win and all that stuff, and now the panic has set in, and now the
dread. Here comes good old dread.
I will get nothing done over the next 8 days, like literally from now until the Super Bowl. I will. This is it. Make no mistake where you are. So I've watched nothing, which brings us to the parenting tip of the week.
I watched nothing.
Nothing. The only thing I did watch is that clip from Conan from...
Which clip is that?
90... Don't shut that... 6. Oh, was it 97?
Yeah, it was 97. Because I remember I watched it when we went out to Chicago.
What happened in Chicago? Anyway, Joe and I did a road trip. It was. We reference it all the time. You should post it on put a link on Facebook and on the Twitter, because every time you hear Joe and I say "cigarette mein Führer" and the other one yells 9, it will bring it into clarity.
There was this was back in 97 when the tobacco companies were now putting out anti-smoking ads in the United States to sort of get ahead of the bad PR.
No, it was a lawsuit.
Oh, right.
Part of the lawsuit.
That's right. And see, you have a better memory and knowledge of these things. So Conan, of course, imagine what it would be like, what these new smoking ads are going to look like, because none of them had come out yet. And one of them was, you see a black and white footage of an SS officer standing over what appears to be Adolf Hitler at his desk, and the officer offers a cigarette to Hitler. Cigarette, mein Führer? 9. And then it cuts to a black screen with the graphic, "Be like Hitler, don't smoke." And it's like, I don't want to smoke, but I don't want to be like Hitler.
It's one of the funniest things. And then it cuts to Andy saying that, Well, you don't have that clip, but if you can post that, people will know.
Yeah.
All right. Parenting tip of the week.
My parenting tip. Everybody relies on my parenting knowledge. And it's not because I totally ignore my kids throughout the week.
Hey, you take care of your kids.
I want a cookie, and I eat it, and then I shit it out.
You've never been to prison.
No, keep it real. I do not have a parenting tip, and you do that. You parent shame me, and thank you for doing so.
I'm not shaming you. I fat shame myself. My parenting tip is excuse me. So last week, I had talked the jiu-jitsu place, wouldn't let me play their reindeer games, and nicely I told the guy to go fuck himself in front of the kids. And I think it stuns people at a jiu-jitsu facility when you say to like a second, third degree black belt to go fuck yourself, and in front of him, in front of his own, students, in front of his own gym. But my parenting tip is, don't let that deter you. Find a new gym to go to tell somebody to fuck off. And we did. We found the new gym. It's like I said, it's a boxing and it's a jiu-jitsu, gym. And I'm not letting, just because we've hit a couple roadblocks finding, a decent place. And it's been hard. Like, the jiu-jitsu places in LA were great. The one in Qatar was just, phenomenal. We really felt at home and loved it. Haven't found a good fit here. Boys seem to like this place. They actually have a real boxing ring that, they work out in, and it's a real gym. It's not, smells awful, and it's in one of the old brick mill buildings that they've semi-redone, but not completely redone.
You can still smoke in it.
Not a lot of that in the boxing, but maybe. But yeah, so that's my parenting tip is like, don't let things deter you. Don't, keep persevering. Even though your kids don't want to go and they hate it and they fight you the whole way and they get a little bit excited.
I thought we were talking about jiu-jitsu, not piano lessons.
and you see how much I let them waver from that too.
Uh-huh.
I don't, because I'm a mean dad who makes them do things.
Good.
Yeah.
Whereas my kids play League of Legends. God damn it! Oh, the League of Legends. These kids with their video games. Where do they get it from?
Yes. I learned it from watching you. All right.
God damn it! I suck. Don't be like me. Smoke.
So we'll end on Driving You Home by Dan Cray.
Driving Us Home.
Driving Us Home. DanCray.net off the album Best Ever. It is great. And what are your final thoughts, Joe?
My final thoughts are, what? The Weezer covers weren't that bad. Did you hear about the Weezer covers?
It turns out that I don't know if it was Roxana or Africa, but one of the two songs that they covered turns out their biggest hit.
Oh, Africa.
Like more so than Hash Pipe or Beverly Hills or Buddy Holly. Like
absolutely, yeah. So they briefly, in case you aren't following up on the Weezer news, Weezer is supposedly working on like a new original album called the Black Album. All their albums
that comes out in like 3 weeks,
right? But they dropped a surprise Teal album, which is all very faithful, almost antiseptic formulaic covers, and it's all on YouTube. There's a playlist on YouTube where you can just listen to it for free. It's Rivers Cuomo sounds a lot like Ozzy if he tries. He sounds a lot like Annie Lennox if he tries. He doesn't sound so much like Chili from TLC when he did No Scrubs. But Chili, who I think is one of the she and the other woman, T-Boz, I think are the only surviving members.
Yeah, Left Eye is.
Yeah, she left.
In fact, I know that.
Yes. But Left Eye Lopez. But she saw it or heard it, and she's like, "Well, we got to do a collaboration together because who's talking about TLC now? Everybody, because Weezer cover them."
Well, and it's great because it would be really fun if the back and forth with Toto, if the bands that they covered all got together and covered a Weezer song.
Oh, that would be so meta. But yeah, it's only, and they're all like great songs, but it's faithful to a fault, these covers. Yeah,
if I was going to make a critique from a 25-year successful beyond all belief touring stadium bands, what they put out you can hear at any bar from any cover band any day of the week.
Right. There's very little spin or hook or nuance.
Make it their own.
Yeah, there's no stamp. What is the Weezer stamp?
Like when Beyond Id covers Ruby by Kenny Rogers. We just,
Yeah, that's a tearjerker right there. But
a tearjerker lined with adrenaline.
But I enjoyed it. I listened to it, but it wasn't like, oh my God, this totally reinvented this song for me. It was like, oh yeah, that sounds just like Paranoid.
Yeah, it sounds like Weezer playing.
They're playing Sweet Dreams. Actually, I like Marilyn Manson's version of Sweet Dreams better than Weezer's version of Sweet Dreams. But to each their own. They're very nice people. I do like that Weird Al is in the video for Toto's the Africa cover, which is a parody of the Sweater Song video. Which is, I don't know. By the way, you got to look up the Weezer, the Weezer fight on the Saturday Night Live skit.
It's great.
Yeah,
with Leslie Jones.
And Matt Damon. Oh my God,
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, all right, sorry to extend this podcast longer than you thought it was going to be, but I had to get in my Weezer talk. Everybody's wanting to know what my Weezer take is, and there it is, my Weezer take.
Thank you.
Hashtag Weezer take. Hashtag Weezer take. And Jacques, until our Super Bowl 53 preview podcast that everybody is clamoring for, Biff. Not even Biff. Nobody. No one cares what we think, especially me, because I don't have an opinion, except that I want the Patriots to win. Until then, Jacques, please, for the love of God, if there's anything that you do this coming week. It's that don't forget.
Something that you heard in the grocery store. Something someone said at work. Got me thinking about the grieving butler that scene from the jail. It's got me thinking about the bear, the Bosky, yeah. Poor daughter's brief funeral. The way down Fargo, all that blood and all that snow. It's got me thinking like the summer is nearly gone, and wondering how the winter would be. I noticed how quiet the car become. I noticed you were looking at me, and I got a feeling something ain't right here. Something went down. Tell by your tone. And I don't know why. It's while you were talking, I was just driving us home. Yeah, I got a feeling something ain't right here. Something went down. Tell by the tone. And I don't know why. It's while you were talking, I was just driving us home. I'm not saying you should. Just say maybe. Try taking the show round to the point you're making. I'm not saying you should. Just thinking maybe taking the short round to the point you're making. I'm not saying you should. Just thinking maybe try taking the short round to the point you're making. I'm not saying you should. Just thinking maybe try taking the short